Hey guys, it's Cayley. I'm back with another thrift haul. In today's video, I have a collection of pieces that are mostly really good, style-based, both bread and butter and bolo items. I know for a lot of you, you are in an area where you can't find the high sell-through rate bolo brands, and so you're really relying on both factor stacking and style-based sourcing. And if you're not already relying on that, it's just a good sourcing stream to add to your knowledge. Because that way, if you're having a bad sourcing day, you can always lean into these strategies. Before we dive into the thrift haul and these great items, I want to take a second to talk about one of my favorite shipping supplies companies, Pack. Pack is an online shipping supplies company that I personally order tons and tons of poly mailers from. Their website is super clean and simple, and they do free shipping on all orders within the US. You simply go on, pick what kind of mailer you want. I almost always choose poly mailer, pick your size. I do the 10 by 13s and the color and quantity that you want. They recently switched to selling more in bulk, which makes it a lot easier for you to save more per piece. And if you're like me and you ship out tons of items every week, you need a lot of poly mailers. I like ordering them in bulk ahead of time just to save the most money. Just did a restock and got this pretty peach color for spring. And as usual, I had to order my favorite muted colors, which are this beige color and this haze blue. If you need to stock up on poly mailers or any other shipping supplies for your business, check out Pack. The link will be down below, as well as a coupon code that you can use for even more off your first purchase. Now back into the thrift haul. Okay, so like I said, almost all of these items are completely style-based or they're factor stacked. And I'm gonna dive a little deeper into each one and why we got it. With anything, especially bread and butter, you wanna make sure that you're paying affordable prices for these things, especially if you are kind of experimenting and testing things out. So just wanted to mention that the bins would be a good place to look for things like this. The first one is actually a well-known brand, and this is a great piece, but the style itself is also really good, and so I'll explain why. This is a We the Free, which is one of Free People's lines. It's in an excellent size, which is a size 32, and this is a pair of corduroy pants. Now, one reason I wanted to show this on today's thrift haul is that when it comes to pants, it is pretty hard to style-based source for pants. There's just not a whole lot of things that sell well style-wise for pants, but the one thing I do look for are anything that is not a skinny leg. Things that have an exaggerated leg, such as barrel leg, wide leg, even straight leg can be good, but especially styles like this that are a little bit more baggy are definitely what people are looking for right now. These just happen to also be in a really great brand, but something I would look for in just about anything, and even in men's pants too, is a style category you can look for. Which brings me to another style pair of pants in that same vein. These are wide leg linen pants. Now, these are also a good brand, and I promise not all of these are, but we've been picking these up in like Old Navy and flipping them constantly for $20 to $30 with that combination of wide leg and linen pants. Even better if they're full length, and even better if they are a larger size. This one's actually a size small, but it is in Quince, which is a high sell-through rate brand. And so for that reason, we picked these up. But I wanted to just show the style in today's thrift haul because, again, flipping a lot of wide leg linen pants, and I'm using keywords like coastal, beachy, boho, depending on what the colorway is. For these, I'll probably use nautical, possibly even old money. Okay, this one is completely style-based. This is the brand Express, which is not a brand you want to seek after. However, I do find that their older labels are a little bit more sought after in the vintage community, specifically for 90s and Y2K. And anytime I see velvet, I'm always looking into a piece because velvet has become so trendy. And I'm sure that the popularity of it is going to start to shrink down a little bit with the warmer weather, but I'm still having tons of buyers picking up velvet. And I'm just trying to be very cautious of what it is that I'm picking up. Can it still be worn in the springtime? This one is short sleeve. It is a longer length dress, and it is in a beautiful jewel tone too, which I think is going to significantly add value. It's also a younger silhouette. I lean velvet dresses like this into the whimsy goth aesthetic, and I'll also probably use the keyword witchy as well. Okay, next up is another dress. This is another style category that I'm looking for right now. And I've mentioned it before, but if you didn't know, tops and dresses are my top 2 trending categories right now. Over the last year, I've really heavily dove into them. Before, in previous years, it was always like the men's stuff. I did really well with men's. Now I'm just trying to lean into more and more categories slowly, but really deeply to make sure that I understand it. And so last year I really focused on tops and dresses. I'm not sure what I'll be focused on this year. I've started looking into like kids' clothes, so maybe that's the direction I'll go. But I do feel very confident with dresses, and dresses are something that are really good to style-based source for and also factor stack because they are more substantial pieces. And so you can make some pretty good money off of dresses. This is the brand Carol Little, not necessarily a bolo brand, but this is a vintage dress. And the main thing I wanted to show you, I've talked about modest dresses before, so this definitely falls into that, but it's really this patchwork detail that I wanted to point out. Patchwork is very trendy, and so this is an example of that. And I'm going to use the keyword patchwork in my title, as well as lean this into a more modest, mature type of buyer. This looks very similar to those jumper dresses that I told you guys about in previous thrift hauls. Haven't even been telling you guys prices. This velvet dress I'll probably list for around $35 to $40. This one I'll need to do a little bit more research on, but probably about the same thing. Okay, next up is another velvet dress. This one's a lot more younger looking, and this is also a no-name brand. This one's actually a modern label, and I wanted to show you this because you can do the same thing with modern labels. That's what style-based sourcing is all about. Sometimes if something has a vintage label, that's going to increase the value, but sometimes not. And so we do pick up modern pieces as well. This one is a gorgeous, longer length, ruched detail, very fitted, flattering look with a high slit. So this is going to go to the younger crowd, and it is a faux wrap. I'm also going to lean this into like whimsy goth, witchy, and probably also more that formal route. So I might use like little black dress or cocktail or event or something like that as well. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot leave these dragging on the floor or they get run over by my rack. So I always have to flip them over the hanger. Okay, next up, this is again this one's a modern label as well. It's just Trixie, not a great brand. This is another category of dresses I really like looking for. I would prefer it if it were longer length, but this one has some great features, so many so stacked that the length didn't matter to me. And it's these very cottagecore tiered boho dresses, especially if you can find them in like lighter colors, I find perform really well for me. So very like milkmaid style, puff sleeves, tiers, some smocking. This one has a really good silhouette. I'm definitely going to use the keywords milkmaid and coquette with this one, but this could be leaned into so many different aesthetics. And I typically sell dresses like this for $25 to $35. Okay, next up, I thought I just saw a spot, but we're good. It was my eyes tricking me. This is also a well-known brand. It is We The Free again, but great style that I look for, which are Henleys. I've noticed in both women's and men's, Henleys have been performing well, especially if they have like a tighter fitted silhouette. You want to do your comps, of course, because this is more like factor stacking, but brands I've noticed that perform well in Henleys are even like Aerie, and Aerie's not typically something that I pick up just because comps aren't good, but tight fitted Henleys like this I've noticed perform pretty well, and at least 25 on this. Okay, here is another dress. This is a throwback. This is vintage Charlotte Russe, which I actually think will perform well because it is a well-known Y2K brand. These little dresses with baby doll, this one is pink. It has a very nice like asymmetric look to it here. Lots of layering, and all of those things stacked are a really good indicator of something that you may want to pick up. I'm going to lean this one into homecoming, Y2K, and also coquette because of the shape and the color. And I'll probably list that for around $35 to $40. Okay, this one is another velvet piece. This is just Coldwater Creek. I try to stay away from plus sizes with these aesthetics just because previously they hadn't performed well for me, but I'm starting to test it out. And so I'm just making sure there's a lot of details there, and I'm starting to sell the more like plus size style based pieces over on Depop. And so these are just a couple of pieces I'm testing out. This is a Coldwater Creek full velvet plus size top. It's also new with tags. I do find that velvet and plus size go well together. It's just like style wise, it's a tougher sale. This has a little bit of lace trim too. Again, a jewel tone. So I'm going to lean this into whimsy goth and witchy, and probably 25 to 30 for that. Here is a category in dresses that I really like getting. They are all over crochet dresses and really just crochet and open knits in general. I know you guys have seen me pick up a ton of. This is a no-name brand, just a modern, pretty cheap brand, but this one is full length. It is pink. I'm probably going to lean this into boho and probably also like country cowgirl, and I'll probably sell that for around 25. Okay, next up, this is a very pretty top. It is also, I don't believe a brand, just like a modern no-name brand, but this is also a great silhouette. So we have the empire waist here, exaggerated, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, exaggerated plus puff sleeve. And it has this like shiny look to it. This really reminds me of the nap dresses by, oh shoot, I forgot the brand. I know it's going to come to me after this thrift haul, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, you can put it in the comments down below. But they make these like mini dresses that they call like nap dresses, and they lean very heavily into like the fairy aesthetic. So that's what I'll be doing with this. And these exaggerated sleeves are very good. I'm going to lean this into probably fairy and ethereal. And again, that smocking detail, just lots of feminine flowy details to this. I'll probably list it for 25. Okay, here's another plus size piece I am aiming to sell over on Depop, although I'll list them everywhere. Very sheer, romantic, flowy tops have been performing well for me. This one is plus size by a no-name brand, and this also has a little flare sleeve, which is going to aid in search. And it's just really overall a really nice piece with some details in the back. I'm going to market this towards fairy, feminine. I'll also use the keyword sheer, and I'll plan on that selling for 25 to 30. Here is another piece. This is, again, just a modern brand. I've been selling a ton of these. Again, sheer little open kimonos. These are very romantic, very feminine, and again, can be leaned into so many aesthetics. I sell them for about 25 to 30. And this one in particular, I'll probably do like festival, boho, even shabby would be a good keyword with this one. Here's something else that's still performing well for me are these little Y2K tank tops, especially when they have a baby doll. This one does not, but this one does have lace trim, and it's in a trending color of brown, which can be leaned into like forest, fairy, or Y2K in general is just, you know, a trendy color. I usually flip these for $20 to $25. And that's a no-name brand as well. Okay, this is an interesting piece. This one could be, I could go in so many directions. This is a brand I've been keeping my eye on. It is Pol, P-O-L. They make some really good style-based pieces. The sell-through rate's not good, but if you get a good piece and you know how to market it, they do flip pretty well. This one is a very interesting off-shoulder top. It's got some sheer details as well. Very like frilly, feminine. I'm definitely going to use the keyword shabby with this. Probably also fairy grunge and probably boho with that as well. This one I could see going for around 30. Okay, next up, another crochet top. Again, another category I'm picking up a ton. This is just a modern no-name brand. These, again, can be leaned into so many different aesthetics, especially this younger silhouette here. This, I'm probably going to lean into that festival, boho, and country cowgirl. And probably 25 to 30 on that as well. Here is another full crochet dress. This one's kind of like a bodycon one, just by Forever 21. This one, because it's longer length, we price maybe a little higher, around 30. All of these are just estimates in my head, by the way, just from experience of selling these, but full length crochet dresses, definitely something great to look for. I'll lean this one into, again, that like festival boho. And again, I'm probably close to 30 on that. Here's another open knit top. This one's a little bit more casual. It is hooded too, which is really going to aid in pricing and sell-through rate. This is just by the brand Massimo. I'm going to lean this into the like Y2K teen preppy. And pieces like this typically sell for around $25 for me. Here is another pair of pants. Again, exaggerated leg. These are wide leg, and they also have this like little bell cuff here with some crochet details again. Hopefully you're seeing like all of these factors, you know, branching out into all the aesthetics. But these are so cute. These are, again, very shabby. They remind me of Magnolia Pearl. They remind me of Matilda Jane. But they are actually by Earthbound Co., which I find some good style-based pieces in. I'll use keywords like hippie, boho, and shabby on this one. And I don't know, I'll probably have, well, Nikki did this. She already has a price in mind, but I have a feeling, because I know some Earthbound trading company things actually have an elevated value, that these might go for a little bit more, but I'm guessing around 30. Okay, this one is completely unbranded. It is another dress. This is Baby Doll. And it is a longer length satin dress with a side slit, very young, feminine. These earthy tones are really trendy right now. And I'm gonna lean this into fairy and just like the feminine baby doll style. This will likely sell for around 25 to 30. And the last two pieces are basically the same, more sheer lacy details. This is Pole again. This is another sheer lacy top. This one has bell sleeves, which again is going to help just factor stack into a great style. I'm going to use Whimsy Goth and Witchy with this one also. I would imagine 25 to 30. And then the very last one, kind of the same thing. This is Vintage Rue 21. This is a great Y2K piece, again with the flare sleeves adding to the value. This one is pink, so I'm not going to lean it towards Whimsy Goth, but I'll probably go the like boho festival route. All right, guys, so those are all of the style-based pieces I have to show you today. I hope doing a little bit of a deep dive into the keywords that I'm going to use, the prices, and kind of what I look for in these pieces will help you to be able to source similar things. Remember, if you're starting to test out style-based sourcing, there is a huge learning curve. There's like an art and a science to it, and you got to combine those things, especially with like pricing and all that. So make sure you're shopping at a place where you're getting very low cost of goods. That way it's not so risky as you learn. And if you want to learn more and like get caught up in the matter of a couple of weeks, we have start to finish deep dives on pricing, all the aesthetics to look for, factors, and all of that inside of Reseller's Edge Pro. So you could go in, watch all of those videos, and be completely up to date if you're just like ready to jump headfirst into it and want to know exactly what to pick up right now. Link for that is also down below if you're interested. But that is the end of today's thrift haul. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have many more for you, so if you're not already, consider subscribing below. That way you'll get notified when those go live. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.